Hey, I'm Allison, and this is Realistically Consistent, where we talk about how to build sustainable fitness, nutrition, and mindset habits that actually last even as a busy mom. I'm here to help get you consistent, not perfect, and on your way to feeling like your best self. I'm so excited to start today's episode with you. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Realistically Consistent. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I am really excited for today's episode, as usual, because we are going to be talking about the one word, yes, a single word, that could potentially be blowing up your chance for consistency. And I'm curious, if you didn't already read the show notes, if you can guess what that word is. It is should. Are you shoulding yourself? So what I mean by that is, are you finding yourself saying, and maybe you're not finding yourself saying yet, but when you go back and think about it, you're going to actually see that you are saying this word so many times a day. Okay. And it could go like this. I should have had a protein for breakfast this morning. I should be drinking more water. I shouldn't have stayed up so late last night. On and on and on and on it goes. So I want you to pause and reflect really quick. Genuinely, how many times have you felt yourself say that to yourself in the last 24 hours? Heck, even the last hour, singular hour. How many times have you heard yourself say this word? And if you can't remember, I am going to challenge you throughout this episode to really stop and catch yourself anytime you say, I should have, I should be, I shouldn't have, anything with that word should. I want you to start really paying attention. How many times a day do you catch yourself saying that? And then I want you to message me. If you're not already following me on Facebook or Instagram, please find me at Allison Haley on Facebook, Allison Haley Fitness on Instagram, and shoot me a message. I read all my messages personally, and I'm genuinely curious if you went on with the rest of your day and counted up a couple, up to 100, or however many times that you count it. But I genuinely want to hear from you. And know, did this episode help you because you found yourself actually saying those things? So what I want to do is, if you do find yourself saying these things, I want to give you some really actionable steps for you to stop. And the reason why you should stop telling yourself those things. And so the first thing I want to address is that reason why, right? We want to get to the root of why this is one of the things that could be holding back your ability to be consistent. So every time that you are saying to yourself, I should be doing this, I should have done that, I shouldn't be doing these things, whatever. Every time that you tell yourself that, what you're really doing is continuing to say to your subconscious and convince your brain, hey, we don't actually do the things that we want to do. We don't actually do the things that we say we should be doing, right? Because we find ourselves saying this over and over and over again. And how often does that really change, right? Because you should be, say, drinking more water. Well, how many times have you caught yourself saying that? I should be drinking more water. I should be working out. I should be doing this, whatever. How many times have you said those words to yourself or even to somebody else out loud and then not followed through with it? And not only that, but maybe if it's other things in your life that are like work related or kid related or whatever. And I can be guilty of this too sometimes. Like, I should sign my kids up for that next sport. I should, whatever in my business, on and on it goes. And I have to be really aware of every time that I do that, because what I've noticed is every time that I say I should be doing this and I don't take an action to fix that problem, to correct this quote behavior of saying this word, I just continue to tell my brain, like, you know what, we just keep procrastinating things start getting built up, and then it's like this constant nagging in the back of your brain that you're not doing the things that you say you should. You're not doing the things that you say you want to. You procrastinate everything, and then it just keeps building up and building up, and it forms as this sense of kind of anxiety that even if it's not top of your mind at that moment, it's still there. It's still sitting there as something that you, quote, should be doing, right? and you don't want to forget about it because, oh, we'll circle back around to that later. And now it's just sitting there as that, say, kind of anxiety or pressure or guilt that you're not doing it. And all of those negative feelings are sitting in your body. And as a side note, could potentially be one of the reasons that you may still be struggling to lose weight because all of that is energy and it's not positive energy either. And energy is something that can sometimes get trapped inside our bodies if we're not releasing it. So I want to give you methods today so that you can release that energy so that you have somewhere to place it, so that you have a different message to tell your brain every time that you catch yourself, because it is going to take time. It's going to take attention. It's going to take effort to rewire your mind, rewire your subconscious to get out of this should thinking and into this confident, I know, I say what I do, and we show up with confidence because of that. And the confidence just from now having this plan of action is going to trickle down into every facet of your life. It's going to give you more belief in yourself to perform the habits that you are trying so hard to be consistent with. So the first step is always going to be awareness. So as I already told you, I genuinely want you to start taking accountability for how many times you say this. And again, get really brutally honest with yourself, okay? Pay really close attention to your thoughts over the next few days, even the next few weeks. Catch yourself every single time that you are saying that word should, okay? And what I also would love for you to really sit back and do is, where is it coming up the most? Is it coming up the most in work, in stuff with your kids, in stuff with your own health habits, lifestyle? Where is it coming up the most for you? If it is coming up, and I just like to focus on that lifestyle habits, things like that, because that's what this podcast is mostly about. But if it is coming up as that, like I should be getting more steps, I should be drinking more water, I shouldn't stay up so late, things along those lines. Well, why do you think you're finding yourself saying all of those things consistently and not doing anything to change them? And so a few episodes back, I believe it was episode number 6, I talked about finding that why, right? So there's kind of two parts to that why. First, we want to see, well, why is it so important for you to start drinking more water, start getting more steps, blah, 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 blah. It's probably because there's some feeling that you have attached to that where if you can start doing those things, then you will start feeling X better, right? Because maybe you're going to lose the weight, but it's not really the weight that you want to lose. It's the feeling that you want to get when you lose the weight, having more energy, having more confidence, being able to fit in your clothes. And that's causing you to feel better and have more confidence, right? So we're kind of chasing that feeling of feeling better. And so then it's kind of like, okay, well, why? Why is that important to you? Why do you want to feel better? You want to be able to go out on date nights and feel good with your partner. You want to be able to run around with your kids and get up and down off the floor, right? So that becomes your why, that really strong reason rooted in why. So if you haven't listened to episode 6 already, I go way more in depth with all of those things. So again, backing way up here, the first step is awareness. We want to become really aware of how often we are saying these things to ourselves and why those things are going on repeat. The next step is going to be changing the behavior. So you want to have something to replace this behavior with, okay? And so what I highly recommend you replace this with is every single time you catch yourself saying, I should. I should do this, I should go do that, whatever. You're going to replace it with, I'm going to. I should be getting more steps. I'm going to get more steps. And here's where you start making a difference. You say going to, and you immediately prove to your brain that you mean what you say by doing one of two things. One, I should be getting more steps. You immediately stand up and go for a walk. Hop on your walking pad if you're at work. Pace while you're on the phone. If you're driving, you park further away. Do something immediately in that moment to show yourself that you mean business. It's not a should, it's an I'm going to, and I'm going to handle this right now. Or if it's not realistic for you to do it right in that moment, it's I'm going to, let's say it's more steps, I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk on my lunch break today. And we want to really, again, make sure that we follow through with this because that is where the key here is. To change the behavior, we have to follow through. We have to give our brain evidence that we mean what we say and we're going to do what we say. And so we're not just going to say, I'm going to go for a walk later. Okay. Because it's very easy to break those promises with ourselves. And again, make it even harder for us to rewire this thinking. We are going to create a plan right here, right then and there. So if, again, doing the thing in that moment is impossible, we're going to create a really solid, concrete plan. So maybe it's, I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk, okay, time frame, after I eat my lunch. So again, you're making this plan in your head. I'm going to take a little bit less time to actually eat, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to go for a walk. Where? Are we going outside? Are we walking around the halls? Are we hopping on a walking pad? What are we doing? Okay. Concrete plan that you know that you can follow, and then follow through with it. So again, this can apply to so many different aspects of, like I said, I'm going to focus on this health and fitness realm right now, but it can be drinking more water. I should be drinking more water. Okay, no, stop. I'm going to drink more water. Stop what you're doing. Go get yourself a glass of water or a tumbler full of water. Okay. Or I am in the middle of a call when this thought crossed my mind and I'm just going to jot down on my little notepad, water, exclamation point, and make that real quick plan in the back of my mind that the second I hang up for the phone here, I'm going to go fill up my tumbler, whatever it might be. But we are going to start catching these shoulds and instead replace that should with going to. Okay. Give your brain the evidence that you are going to then follow through and do what you say you're going to do. Now, I know it's not necessarily always realistic for you to stop what you're doing and go do that thing, right? There are plenty of times where it's like, okay, yes, I should be doing a better job of meal planning. And if that still feels like that's something that's really overwhelming for you, where you want to create like more time and a space and be able to have your computer to look up some meals or, really think about the things that you guys enjoy eating and you want to be able to like sit down and make that time for it, then it can be putting things on a list or setting yourself a reminder. So one of the things that I really like to do is, oh, I should fold the laundry today. Well, I'm in the middle of things. I know realistically, I'm not going to get to it at lunch because the baby's going to need me. I'm not going to get to it when my kids get home because I'm going to be prepping dinner. I'm not going to get to it when my kids go to bed because just genuinely, that is the absolute last thing that I want to do after my kids go to bed. And so it's okay. I know on a very realistic level, I'm not going to fold the laundry today. Like, I just know that. And so instead of beating myself up for knowing I need to get this done, I should be doing this. And it's constantly on repeat. Okay, you should fold the laundry. You should fold the laundry. Okay. No, I'm going to think of that time in the future, whether it's a few days from now or the weekend or whatever it might be. And I am going to create that plan for when I'm going to get it done. If it happens to happen sooner, amazing, right? But I'm going to create a very realistic plan for when it's going to get done instead and set a reminder in my phone so that it comes up, if it's a few days in the future, like, hey, you're going to fold the laundry today at this time, right? Because that's what's going to work best for you. And again, create a plan. Are your kids going to be awake? What are they going to do while you're folding the laundry? Are they going to help you? What are we going to do, right? Create that plan to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. Maybe it's some of the things like that really get pushed to the back burner because they're not super important, but they're things that you really want to do, right? Like I should be lifting weights. I should be listening to more podcasts. I should be reading more personal growth books. But you know that it's just not realistic for you at this time. You've got too many kids' sports going on. You've got too much whatever going on. You know that you do better when you can walk outside and you're going to do more podcast listening when you can walk outside in the spring, whatever it might be. Be really realistic with yourself so that you don't constantly have this like on repeat, I should be doing these things. Okay. Come up with that plan again and set something out way in the future. Add it to a list of things that you would really like to get to, but you're just not going to get to. We want to brain dump them into a list so that they can just clear up that energy and that space in your mind to really focus on the things that matter right now. Now, if you're like me, I don't love seeing like a running list that can't get checked off. So that's why my reminders app in my phone is my best friend. And I tell Siri all the time to set me a reminder for X date in the future. Sometimes it's for like 10 minutes from now. Sometimes it's for 10 days. Sometimes it's for 10 weeks from now, where it's like, oh, yeah, I know at this time I'm going to want to start this new program and I don't want to forget. So I'm going to set a reminder right now in my phone to remind me in 10 weeks to start this program. Now, I want to take a moment to jump over to like the other side of these shoulds, which could be like, I should be drinking less alcohol. I should be eating less sweets. I should be lifting more weights, whatever it might be. And I want you to get really honest with yourself. If these are things that you should be doing, quote, because maybe you heard somebody, even me, say that like, that's what's going to help you feel better. There are many, many things out there that you can pull from these podcast episodes. There's tons of things out there. But if you know, and this is where it requires you to get like super brutally honest with yourself, if you know you're just not going to do that right now, then you need to own it and move on and be okay with that. Because again, constantly having that I should be on repeat in your mind and then doing nothing about it is killing your confidence, which is killing your consistency. So if you know you should give up alcohol, but you just genuinely fully don't want to, and I'm using that example because like I'm in that boat right now. I should give up alcohol. I know it makes me feel crummy when I drink it. I know that my tolerance is like way, 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 way low. But right now, at this point in my life, it's just not that important to me. I still enjoy going out for a drink with a friend. I still enjoy having a glass of wine on the weekend, whatever it might be. I'm not in a place in my life right now where I just want to give that up. And so I'm not telling myself or anybody else I should be giving up alcohol. Maybe I should, but I'm owning right now that that's not the place that I'm at. I'm owning that I'm not going to. And so I'm putting that out of my mind as another should and just being okay with where we're at right now. So I want you to, again, really reflect and get really brutally honest with yourself here. Any of those shoulds that are floating around in your mind or shouldn't haves, what is actually realistic for you to change? And what do you need to just own and be okay with, right? Because either side is fine. If you are genuinely not okay with something, so maybe it's the alcohol and you are so fed up with the way that alcohol is making you feel, the fact that it's robbing you of sleep, the fact that it's making you feel bloated all the time. If you are fed up with it and you are so done with those feelings and you need to take radical responsibility for the fact that maybe that thing does need to change, and then go do it. Go make that change. But unless you are ready to go make that change, then you need to start being okay with it. But constantly sitting on this fence of, oh, I should go do it, but I'm not gonna, is just teaching your brain that, yeah, we continue to not do the things that we say we should. And it's continuing to foster that guilt and that disappointment in yourself that makes it harder and harder for you to do all of the other things that you say you should, quote, do, right? So again, we just want to completely eliminate this word from our vocabulary so that we can start to gain confidence again in ourselves, in our abilities. And honestly, even taking ownership of that, yeah, no, I'm not in the place where I'm going to do the thing that I quote should. So I'm good with it and I'm moving on. That is also solidifying confidence in yourself to just make a choice, make a decision and move on with it. And just to jump into the like, I shouldn't haves, because this is another area where it's so easy for us to dwell on things and beat ourselves up and feel that guilt. And it is that I shouldn't have eaten that last night. I shouldn't have stayed up so late last night. I shouldn't have blah, 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 whatever it may be. Every time that you dwell on that, and again, be honest with yourself because those are repetitive thoughts often. It's not that you just have that singular thought one time, like I shouldn't have had that dessert last night. You very, very likely keep thinking that over and over and over again. You probably think it the second you're done with it. You probably think it right before you go to bed. You probably think it when you wake up and you still feel bloated from it, or that the scale doesn't say what you want it to say. You probably think that same exact thought on repeat over and over and over again. And so this is where we really need to take ownership and, again, radical responsibility for the choices that we make. You already made that decision. It's in the past. It's done. Dwelling on it even further is doing nothing positive for you. But again, festering those feelings of, I'm a failure, I can't do this, I can't stick to what I say, on and on the negative list goes, and is training your subconscious that, again, you don't mean what you say, and we are just constantly disappointing ourselves. So take ownership of the choices that you make, even if it's one that you're not proud of. You take ownership of that choice and you learn from it and you make an action plan. If it's, I shouldn't have eaten that dessert last night, well, what are you going to do to prevent yourself from making that choice again tomorrow? So again, there's that going to replacement. So I don't catch myself in the same thought. I'm going to eat more protein tomorrow so that I don't have cravings. I'm going to drink more water to also help combat those cravings. I'm going to brush my teeth right after dinner. I'm going to hop on my walking pad right after dinner. I'm going to go to bed earlier so I'm not craving a late night snack. There are so many things that we can do to set ourselves up for success and create that plan for success so that you don't wake up the next day thinking, I shouldn't have, fill in the blank. So there's that going to, again, we're still making a plan. We're still setting ourselves up for success. But again, the key part of that there is too, to own it. So you had the dessert. I hope it was worth it, right? I hope it tasted good. Was it good? Great. You know what? No regrets. It happened. I enjoyed it. Here we are moving forward with our better decisions for next time. And for next time too, again, we're not trying to cut dessert out of our life. If that's something that brings you joy, like it brings me joy, amazing. Plan that into your week. Plan that into your day. Whether you're in a maintenance mode or a fat loss mode, that's going to need to change how often you plan it in for your week. But again, that is a conversation that was in another episode. But when you have that plan for it, that also helps to take away some of that guilt. Like, yeah, I knew I was going to have this treat tonight because I was having it while I watched this show that I really love. And then the rest of the week, I satisfied my sweet tooth with a piece of chocolate, right? Dark chocolate, whatever it might be. Because if you have a sweet tooth like I do need to have some sort of little sweet something after dinner to kind of take that craving away. And so I've got tons of recipes. You can check out my page. I've got a private group on Facebook called Strong Mama, where I've posted tons of recipes before as well. Recently, I just started doing the Unreal treats. I like their peanut butter cup. They have that little coconut bar, and it's just a tiny little sweet something that I know is minimally processed. And that after dinner is actually perfect. Like, that's all I need to curb my cravings. And then I brush my teeth and I head to bed at an earlier time when I know that I should. And that's what's been working best for me right now. But again, what's kind of led me here and almost led me to this podcast is I found myself thinking those thoughts more frequently because of the holidays. Again, it's like I should have been a little bit better, but I'm going to own the choices that I made. It is what it is. And all we can do is move forward and make better choices in the future. Same thing with the last week. It's birthday week. So many birthdays, so much ice cream cake, so much pizza. I mean, it's crazy. And while I tried my best to stay on track and follow the things in moderation like I normally do, it didn't go as well as I thought it did. And the reason I know that is because my body is feeling it and the scale is reflecting it. So it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, well, we enjoyed ourselves. It is what it is. Let's create a plan moving forwards that we don't feel like this again. So I just want to remind you, it is going to require a little bit of work and intention on your part to rewire this language going on in your brain. But I do also want to say that the more that you do it, the more that you catch yourself and reframe, the easier it's going to get, the more natural it's going to feel as time goes on. But you have to give yourself that time. You have to give yourself that follow through where your brain starts to truly believe that you mean what you say and you say what you mean. and you follow through with all of those things that you say. You have to keep giving your brain evidence, and you have to keep celebrating, like we've talked about in previous episodes, every time that you do that. Truly feel proud of yourself every time you even just catch yourself saying the word should, even if you don't make the change yet. If you just can feel proud of yourself for now catching it and being aware and going through these steps, that in itself is something to celebrate. So really start giving your brain that evidence that, you know what, we're on a good track here. We're on a good pace. We can do this. Your brain just wants to see all of that evidence and keep seeking all of the positive things. So every time your brain goes into this negative, like, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't, and you feel the guilt and the negativity, you're training your brain to keep looking for all those negative things that bring you guilt versus celebrating yourself for catching yourself saying the word should or changing it to I'm going to and following through with even the smallest thing. And you feel that pride and that positivity. And your brain is going to say, you know what, we're going to keep looking for things to feel proud of. We're going to keep looking for things to be positive for. Your brain wants the positivity, and we want to keep just training it to look for more of those things and allow the confidence to come that just naturally comes with that, because consistency comes from confidence. When you believe in yourself, when you have that confidence in your abilities to do what you say you're going to do, that is where consistency really starts to come from. So just throughout this if this episode helped you in any ways, like I said, I do absolutely love to hear from you. So whether it's in the comments or in my DMs, I would love to hear from you and hear how this helped you. And as always, share this with a friend and leave a review rating so more moms can find us as well. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Realistically Consistent. If today's episode helped you, please hit subscribe and leave a quick rating as it helps more moms find the show. You can visit AllisonHaleyFitness.com for more tools, tips, and ways to stay connected. And just as a quick reminder, I'm here to share general information and encouragement, but this podcast isn't meant to replace professional medical or health advice. Everyone's circumstances are different, so be sure to check in with your trusted healthcare provider before making any big changes. Thanks again for being here, and until next time, keep showing up for yourself one realistic step at a time.